I never imagined my life would come to this. A woman in her mid-40s, standing alone in a beautiful house, feeling more invisible than ever. The house is quiet, too quiet. Every surface gleams, every frame hangs perfectly level, every corner smells of lemon and lavender and freshly baked illusions. From the outside, my life looks perfect, immaculate, the kind of life people envy. But inside this pristine home, I'm fading. My husband is a ghost who leaves laundry and cold coffee in his wake. His business trips are endless, stretching from days into weeks, sometimes longer. When he comes home, he brings his tired eyes and half-hearted smiles, and I bring my best impersonation of a loving wife. We trade pleasantries, small talk, recipes, weather updates, intimacy. It vanished long ago. I can't even remember when we stopped touching. Stopped seeing each other. I was keeping up appearances, cooking, cleaning, waving to the neighbors with a rehearsed smile. But my soul had been wilting in silence, and I had convinced myself this was enough. That this was simply how marriage looked after 20 years. A contract, coexistence. Until spring arrived. And everything began to shift. Asterisk. It started like nothing. A casual moment. My stepson, Aiden, came home from college for spring break. 22, polite, charming, tall, and lean, with a soft voice that somehow carried weight. I'd helped raise him since he was in middle school. We'd always had a respectful, distant kind of bond, close, but formal. But something about him had changed. It's not in a loud, obvious way, but in the subtle things. The way his eyes lingered, the way his compliments carried a new edge. "You look beautiful today," he said one morning, holding a coffee mug like it was some kind of offering. I laughed. I always do. A reflex, a deflection. But inside I felt something stir, something I hadn't felt in a very, very long time. We started spending more time together, small things. He'd help me carrying groceries, offer to cook dinner with me, sit next to me during late-night reruns of old shows. Nothing inappropriate, not yet, but undeniably different. I began to feel it in the silences between us, in the way his shoulder brushed mine, in the way his gaze lingered when I wasn't looking. One evening, we sat on the porch. The sun was melting behind the hills. The air smelled of jasmine and memory. He looked at me and said, "You hold this family together. You're stronger than any of us, especially my dad." And I wanted to cry, not because I was flattered, but because it had been so long since someone saw me, really saw me. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept playing our conversation over in my mind, replaying the warmth in his voice. It's the sincerity. It's the way he looked at me like I was alive, and the way I didn't flinch. I knew then I had crossed some kind of emotional line, and I didn't want to go back. You could feel the tension before it arrived, like the way the sky darkens before a summer storm. I had just finished dinner. Rain began hammering the windows like a warning. The power went. "Thought you could use this?" he said, with a smile that was warm and dangerous all at once. I took the glass. The rain was the only sound. He opened up about how lost he'd felt lately. How this house was the only place that still felt safe. How being around me made him feel. I'd built. "You don't even realize how incredible you are, do you?" My breath caught. "You deserve someone who sees you, really sees you. Someone who makes you feel alive again. Not anyone." I should have walked away. I didn't. His hand reached for mine. I let it, and in that moment, every rational thought melted beneath the warmth of being noticed, desired. Our kiss was slow, soft, a whisper more than a roar. It didn't scream of lust. It mourned the years we'd both spent pretending we didn't need to be seen. When it ended, stood up, said I needed sleep, and left the room. But sleep never came, only, and a storm that wouldn't pass. It happened on a Thursday. The air had a weight to it. You could feel the tension before it arrived, like the way the sky darkens before a summer storm. I had just finished dinner, Rain began hammering the windows like a warning. The power went out. Candles. Silence. Just me and Aiden. He walked in with 2 glasses of wine. Thought you could use this, he said, with a smile that was warm and dangerous all at once. I took the glass. The rain was the only sound. It felt like the world had gone still. We sat close on the couch, talking about memories, dreams, regrets. He opened up about how lost he'd felt lately. How this house was the only place that still felt safe. How being around me made him feel calm, like himself again. Then he looked at me and said something that shattered the careful walls I'd built. You don't even realize how incredible you are, do you? My breath caught. You deserve someone who sees you, really sees you. Someone who makes you feel alive again. No one had spoken to me like that in years. Not my husband. Not anyone. I should have walked away. I didn't. His hand reached for mine. I let it, and in that moment, every rational thought melted beneath the warmth of being noticed, desired. Our kiss was slow, soft, a whisper more than a roar. It didn't scream of lust. It mourned the years we'd both spent pretending we didn't need to be seen. When it ended, I stood up, said I needed sleep, and left the room. But sleep never came. Only the sound of my heart racing, and a storm that wouldn't pass. The next morning I moved like a ghost through the kitchen, chopping, pouring, pretending. Aideen walked in like nothing had changed, but it had. We both knew we didn't speak of the kiss. But the air between us was different, now charged heavy. When he stood behind me to grab a plate, my breath caught when our fingers brushed again. I didn't pull away. He stayed home more than usual. Said his friends were busy. Said he liked being here. We talked about everything and nothing. My childhood. His fears, my regrets, his dreams. He asked questions no one else had ever bothered to ask. What did you give up to live like this? He once asked, and I had no answer. Just silence and the sound of something inside me cracking. I tried to set boundaries. I really did. I told him this couldn't continue. He'd nod, apologize, and the next moment he'd say something like, "You deserve to feel something again." And I'd melt. It wasn't just attention. It was validation. It was being remembered by life. What happened next wasn't planned. Never is. We didn't speak of love. There were no promises. Only moments. Touches that lingered. Words that echoed. Silences that screamed. It felt inevitable. We were caught in a current too strong to fight. And still I feared. What came next? Not just being caught. But what would happen when he left? Would he take this new version of me with him? Or would I be left here broken all over again? The day he began packing, I felt my chest tighten. He didn't speak much. Neither did I. We had said everything without saying anything. The night before he left, he came into the room. No kisses, no touches. Just eyes filled with conflict. "I don't regret anything," he whispered. "But I don't want to ruin your life." I nodded. My throat was tight. I couldn't speak. The next morning I watched him walk away without ceremony. Just like that, it was over. The house returned to silence, but it was a colder kind now. My husband returned days later, full of stories, handshakes, meaningless gifts. He didn't notice the change in me, didn't see the emptiness in my smile. And that was the final betrayal, that, even now, after everything, he still couldn't see me. Aiden texted once, a short message. "Take care of yourself." I stared at it for hours, then deleted it. Not because it didn't mean anything, but because it meant too much. What happened between us was wrong, but it was real. It woke something in me that had been buried beneath years of indifference. Now, I live in a marriage that looks whole-bought, is hollow. No one knows what I did. No one suspects. But that's the real punishment, not the fear of being caught. The silence of living with the truth. No one sees but you. I learned that love without attention is just habit, and attention without commitment is just temptation. Somewhere in between, I lost a version of myself I will never get back. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real cost of being invisible.